Welcome back once again to the pitchside studio. End of day 2 here in Multan Cricket Stadium, and what a turnaround it has been. Pakistan are 4 down for 76, means they are 178 runs behind that finishing line. But West Indies started this morning with their second innings and scored a massive 244 in the context of the game and what the surface offered, and put a lead of 253 that will surely has and will test Pakistan. So it's been an exciting test match, not a dull moment here. Now, again, we've had a lot of wickets falling, 14 of them today, but 320 runs were also scored. I'll straight away get into my guests. Ian Bishop to my left, and far left is Jamel Warrican. Warrican, thank you for joining us. Let me start off, and that one question's been running through our minds. What has been said overnight that has injected such confidence and self-belief in the side, first with the bat and now with the ball?
First of all, after the first test, we had a proper meeting and we discussed the belief and the fight that we need to show in the second test and backing your game plans. Once you back your game plans and have a clear mindset in which you want to do or what you want to do, it was a major difference in how the guys approach. And then when we batted first, we didn't get the total that we wanted, but to come now and bowl Pakistan for a total less than ours, the momentum was in our favor. And in the meeting this morning, we said, fellas, listen, we need to get to 170, 200. So you got to put your hearts out there. It's the last game, it's the series. Put everything out there, fellas. And you can see the glare in the guys' eyes, the confidence to see when they went out and bat. Even the captain, the approach that he took, that set the stage for the other batsmen to follow. So just the impactful words that we had in the morning and the night before, and the belief the guys had.
And it's not easy, Bish, when you enter a test series, you've lost that first one to 127 runs, and then to come back this way, come back strong in that second, it shows that they've been quick learners.
The courage, the skill, the commitment, to me, is mind-blowing, because none of these guys would have ever played a test match in Pakistan. And then you come to Pakistan and you end up, not Jamel so much with the ball, because he's loving bowling on this track, something that turns this much. I think the commitment speaks volumes, and I don't think we can commend these guys highly enough for what they've shown so far. The job isn't done, but they've come back strongly.
It's been spin-friendly conditions out there, but the experience that for you as a bowler and the spin bowling unit after bowling on these surfaces, how much you take back with you into test cricket ahead?
Just assess the conditions and know that every condition requires a different type of skill. So you might say that this is spin-friendly condition, but pace is very important. Well, when the curve, we're accustomed to bowl a lot quicker, and it took us out of our comfort zone in this series, and we had to learn and adapt very quickly to bowl a lot slower. And I think that's one thing we're going to take out of this test series, understanding the wicket condition and how to bowl slower.
Which one would you take as the turning point in favor of the West Indies? The 109 runs added by the last 3 batters on day 1, or would it be the way they approached the batting this morning?
Oh, I would certainly go back, and I'd love to hear Jamel's thoughts on that. For Roach, Jamel and Moti to add 109 runs yesterday after being reduced to 80 odd for 6 or 8 or some whatever the score was at that time, epitomized one skill, the skill to be able to do it, for each batter to have a game plan. Jamel played with great aggression as well as fortitude. So I think that, to me, shifted the balance of power. I don't like the word momentum. I think that's an overused term, but the balance of power certainly. And for him, and for Moti, and for Roach, what it took to do that.
Well, something as simple as we need runs on the board to create pressure. So when we go out to bat, we back ourselves to put runs on the board so that when we do bowl, we have something to bowl at. But also, when we do practice in the net, we put a price on our wicket, and we know that once in 11, you're a batsman. I want to preach to everyone that is playing. Once you're in 11, you're a batsman. So when you do practice what you're going to do in the game, and when you do get the opportunity to bat in the game, you put a price on the wicket, because every run matter out there. So once you can contribute with the bat, it really, really, really do benefit the team in the future.
Well, Jamel, well done with the ball, well done with the bat, and well done to West Indies. As of now, you are controlling the game. We'll let you have some good rest. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk more about what's going to happen in day 3 and how things have changed on day 2 in favor of West Indies. Welcome back to the pitchside studio. One quick look at the match summary. Pakistan need 178, West Indies need 6 wickets, and we've got 3 days available to us. So lots of time here. Now, as we move ahead, let's just quickly look back into the day 2, and I've got Amir Sohail also joining us. Pakistan lost 4 wickets, including their captain and Babar Azam, so that's a big damage. We'll have a look at the wickets, and I'd like to bring you in to how and in what manner they've lost their wickets, starting off with that first one, which was of Shan Masood.
Look, Sikandar, you know, as a player, as a batsman, you've got to possess a good technique. Once you have a good technique, then you know your game. Once you know your game, then you will find out the ways to score runs in different situations. You might be able to score one or good innings here and there if you don't have a good technique. But to be consistent, you've got to be possessing a good technique. But, you know, if you look at these dismissals, it tells me the players were not assured of their technique, and deep down they knew that it'll be difficult for them to combat this surface, and eventually pressure got to them and got out.
Looking at Herrera's dismissal and Kamran Ghulam, you feel basically they tried to replicate that aggressiveness but went a little too high in the game.
Finding the balance between defending and having that technical proficiency that Amir talked about, and trying to put pressure back on a bowling unit in testing conditions at the best of times at this level is challenging. The line is very, very fine. Kamran Ghulam crossed it. Kavem Hodge crossed it a little bit earlier. Eventually, Craig Brathwaite himself crossed it a little bit earlier. So I sympathize with batters, because against the best teams and best attacks at this level, your margin for error is this small.
You know, talking about Kamran Ghulam, sorry to interject, talking about Kamran Ghulam, you know, when he initially arrived at the crease, he was looking to defend, and he was finding it very difficult to defend. He was given a life, and once he was given a life, he said, okay, I won't be able to defend for a long time. Let's go after the bowlers. And that decision really didn't work for him. And it tells you that he was not assured of his technique to be able to deal with kind of a bowling on a surface like this.
Earlier, Bish, you mentioned about Craig Brathwaite and the performance he did today, and what it means to him as a captain and of course his survival, because I'm pretty sure that once you perform, then you can command and demand things more from the players.
Absolutely. As a leader, you want to be able to lead with performance first of all. You want to look after your own game. So he set the tone when he came out today. He's been preaching this in the dressing room, I think, for the last few months actually, that he wants this team to be able to score quicker, to be more assertive in their batting. And today we saw him come out and bear the fruit of that. He tried it once or twice earlier in the series. So I think it was good leadership. And from the captaincy perspective, having averaged 20 last year, the other guys filtered with this, and they had, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 20-run plus partnerships. And this team isn't a team of stars, Amir. You don't have an Inzamam, you don't have a Virat Kohli, you don't have a Joe Root type world-class player batter in this unit. So guys chipping in is how this team have had little successes in the past, and how they are going to have for the foreseeable future.
You know, you're not going to get a partnership of 200 runs on a pitch like this.
Unless you're on Lara
yeah, exactly.
or Hooper.
So you needed small partnerships to be able to get decent runs on the board. And I think that theory actually worked for West Indies team in this test match.
Now, you just mentioned about the balance that has to be created, a thin line before calculated risk, to just sum it up. You talk about Pakistan preparing this pitch and then probably thinking right now at the receiving end. Would you stick to this formula, or you say maybe it should have a little bit for both sides, batter and bowler?
If you want to, you have to urge your players to get technically well equipped to be able to deal with the spinners on a surface like this. Remember, I was doing a stint with somebody, and I said, if you keep on playing on such surfaces, you know, your batters need to raise their game. And if you aren't able to raise your game, teams like Sri Lanka and others who have good spinners in their lineup, and who the teams know how to deal with the spinners on a turning track, oh, they'll have a walk in the park.
Now, last quick one. Now, this morning we all learned something from Bish, and that is it's not over yet. So I'm saying if West Indies is to win this, What does it mean, and how do you see this moving forward into Test cricket for this young side? You said most of them haven't visited Pakistan before.
And played in these conditions, like quote unquote, if, right? Because if Pakistan win, one way or the other, it's going to be a fabulous end to a Test match for someone. This is a young team that has not played spin well at all. Every West Indian fan who's watched us over the last few years knows this. So to come here in extreme conditions and to fight the way they fought today, for Craig Brathwaite to get a half century, he's been dried of runs in the last 12 months. His leadership has been questioned. Andre Kohli is no longer going to be coach after this series of the West Indies. So it gives him something to go out with and leave a real mark. And for Craig Brathwaite, a chance when Darren Sammy comes in to hold up and say, hey, this team has gotten better. We've gone to Pakistan and we've won a Test match for the first time since 1990. Yeah. 1990. Yeah. That's 34 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
Okay? So, I mean, what this will do for West Indian fans to a team that has received so much criticism for their batting will be fabulous and give them so much confidence going forward that they can learn on the fly.
You know, we have lauded the effort of the captain Brathwaite and a few others, but for me, the star was Amar Jungle. The way he came out and handled the pressure, he was the perfect foil, and especially with the fact that the guy making his Test debut was dismissed on a duck. He was on a golden pair. He came back very strongly, assessed the situation very well, and played, for me, the best knock in these circumstances.
Well, like we said, it hasn't been a single dull moment in this Test match, not even in this, in the one before this. Well, I'll thank my guests here. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. Thank you to all watching us on television. We'll come back tomorrow, and when we come back, we are looking at, well, either 178 to be scored or 6 wickets to be taken. Either way, it's going to be excitement. Wigo Tel Mobile presents Allied Bank Test Series and the second Test, Day 3. Will join us tomorrow morning at 9 in the morning. From the Multan Cricket Stadium, and we'll see what happens. Remember, 178 or 6 wickets. Take care of yourself.